Well, hey, everybody. This installment of Coffee with Nate is the first one that's not being done from my house because we're starting the process of kind of getting back into churches again. So, this is the office at one of my churches, Hope Lutheran in Cedar Rapids. And so, welcome to Coffee with Nate, the office edition. And I thought this week, with everything going on in the news and all of that, I thought to myself, maybe what I would like to talk about this morning are the secrets to championship barbecue. Now, how do I have any right to talk about championship barbecue? Technically speaking, I never won a state championship. The best I did 2 times was reserve grand champion. These are Kansas City Barbecue Society competitions. But within the kind of culture of barbecue, if you get a reserved grand, you can kind of call yourself championship barbecue. Okay, admittedly, I never won the championship, always a bridesmaid, but I know how to barbecue. So the secret to competition barbecue. First thing, let me tell you, when I first started barbecuing and then thought to myself I wanted to take it even further and maybe try my hand at competitions, I did all kinds of scouring of the internet. I did what most people would do, and I went online and I found out, all the rules, and I learned tons of things because if you ask questions on forums, tons of people will respond to you. I learned all these rules, low and slow, right? Cook around 225 degrees and make sure you maintain that temperature. You can't have spikes up and down and all that. That's what I was told, right? I was told things like you never use lighter fluid to start your charcoal because if you do that, people just would swear. A good judge can always taste that lighter fluid, that kind of thing. Taught any number of things. Never use green wood. Always use cured, dried hardwoods. Lots of great stuff. So the first year I tried barbecue, competition barbecue, I didn't do very well. And fair enough, things are difficult, right? Things that are easy aren't worth doing. So the first year you're doing competition barbecue, it's okay for you to not do super great. So after that year, though, as I was practicing, and doing all this work, I thought to myself, it'd be kind of nice to at least get called once, to all this effort, and they cost a lot of money. Barbecue competitions cost a lot of money. At some point, I'd at least like to have a ribbon and a $50 check just to tell somebody I got something out of it. So I made a decision. I thought, you know what? I'm going to find out how to barbecue from the best. Long story short, I end up at Myron Mixon's house in, I believe it's pronounced Unadilla, Georgia. If you don't know who Myron Mixon is, just Google him. If you've seen Barbecue Pitmasters, you've seen Myron Mixon. He's the guy with the big white hair who's always cussing and everything like that, kind of bigger than life. And that's exactly how he is in real life, right? So go down to his house. I've been in his kitchen, right? I ate fried chicken and catfish around his pool and all kinds of stuff. And while we were there, he was giving a class on competition barbecue. 3-time world champion, all that stuff. So as he's kind of giving this class and we're all writing things down, he starts talking about cook times and temperatures. He said, I don't mean to, I'm going to give away one secret. One secret. He said, I cook at 400 degrees. Now, the rules on the internet are 225, and you never let them move up and down, 225. And so as he's telling us cook times, it's like, that doesn't make any sense. And he tells us he cooks at 400 degrees. I'm like, that's twice as hot as any of the rest of us cook. So, of course, the hand goes up in the air. Well, Myron, I thought we were supposed to do 225. And he goes, I'm going to do my best Myron Mixon. It's not like we're buddies or anything. I met him twice. But he kind of like, what? Why would you cook it at 225? If you want to be up all night long, babysitting your fire, you can do that, but I'm going to go to sleep. So I'm going to cook mine at 400 degrees. And that's just kind of how he answered the question. Just a really good guy, but just, right to the point. Then as he's explaining this, he starts making the fire because we're going to go through the whole competition, regimen. He starts dousing a huge pile of charcoal. He starts dousing it with lighter fluid. I'm like, wait a minute. Myron, the internet says you can't do that. And of course, hands go up. Well, Myron, aren't the judges going to taste that lighter fluid? And of course, Myron goes, what? He goes, what do you mean taste the lighter fluid? It's by the time I put the meat on that grill, that lighter fluid had been long since burned away. No judge is ever going to taste any lighter fluid. This is a guy who's won so many competitions that he might have some insight into this. And it was like, wait a minute. That's not what I heard on the internet. Then at one point he goes to like a tree or something. I think it might have even been in his yard, or he gets peach wood. It's green peach wood right off the tree, throws it right on in. It's like, wait a minute, Myron, you're not supposed to do that. I thought the wood was supposed to be, it was supposed to be cured and it was supposed to be seasoned and dried. He's like, who's got time for that? This is the wood I've got. I take this to every competition, peach wood, green. He said, that's the secret. I just gave you two secrets. And so, it kind of blew me away among 1,000 other things he taught us. So I entered my next competition. And sure enough, I start walking. I start getting calls. I wasn't ever like the best. I was the kind of barbecue cook, though, that if the best teams went to different competitions out of state and I came to a local one, I had a chance. If Big T's wasn't there, if Boondoggle wasn't there, if Tippy Canoe wasn't there, if Bubba Q's wasn't there, certainly if Smokey D's wasn't there, I might have a chance. I even got to the point where I could win even like a reserve grand championship on all this new information. And what I learned is never trust the internet. I guess that's what I learned. That's the secret to competition barbecue. If you want to know how to barbecue and you want to do competition barbecue, you can get on the internet all you want, and there's going to be 1,000 rules, and you can type up some question, and all kinds of people will answer it, but never the right people. Believe me, the right people, they're not answering questions on the internet. They might give you hints, but they're not going to give away their secrets for nothing. If you want to know how to do competition barbecue, get off of the internet and go hook up with an expert. Somebody who actually knows what they're talking about, and learn from them. It takes some humility and it takes a lot of time. But I tell you what, that was the only way I was ever going to win any money in competition barbecue, because the so-called internet experts turned out they weren't much of experts at all. All they were people who had gone on the internet and found out rules themselves and just kept repeating them over and over and over again. In fact, when I would go into barbecue forums after I got to understand barbecue well enough, I realized that when somebody would ask a question on a forum, it was never the big, the honchos that would answer those questions. The people who really knew, because you knew who really knew the answers. It was always just folks running off at the mouth. The people who really knew what they were talking about, they kept their cards a little closer to their chest. As we're dealing with all the things that are happening in our culture and our society right now, I guess maybe one of the things I would say to you is this: the secret to competition barbecue is kind of the secret to everything that actually matters, and that is stay off of the internet if you're looking for actual facts. The internet's a great tool. I loved the fact that I could learn the introductory sorts of lessons about cooking meat and smoking meat and all that kind of stuff. I learned, some good stuff, but only about that much. With all of that information out there, the reality, though, is that the internet can only take you so far. The people who really know things are probably not pontificating on the internet about barbecue or really anything else. I would say that if the circumstances in our society right now are overwhelming to you, you're just being hit over and over and over again with perspective after perspective after perspective that just doesn't quite feel right with you, maybe it's okay to admit that the people you're listening to on the internet, they're probably not the experts, right? The people who are making the most kind of noise on the internet right now, whether it's in competition barbecue forums or whether it's politics on your Facebook feed, these aren't the people who actually really know things. And so it's okay. I'm not trying to say don't stay informed. I'm not trying to advocate that you just kind of step outside society. It's okay to put limits on how much you listen to people ranting and raving on the internet. Because I can tell you what, if you're a competition barbecue cook and all you ever do is listen to people on the internet and you never find an actual expert to kind of show you the ropes, you're going to lose money. And I don't mean a little bit, I mean a lot. But if you're humble enough to put yourself at the feet of a master, to learn from somebody over time and to give yourself an opportunity to kind of find out the tricks of the trade. Well, at least in competition barbecue, that was the only way I ever got paid. I think the same thing is kind of true in life. The information you're looking for is probably harder to get at than you think. It's probably wise to maybe find people who have proven in their lives that they have an expertise and they have a knowledge worth listening to. As far as the internet, let's just take it for what it's worth. It's a wonderful tool. We can learn a lot from it. But at the end of the day, I'm not betting my life on anything I learn on the internet. Which I have to say ironically because you're going to watch this on the internet. All right, I'm a hypocrite. That doesn't mean I'm wrong. Can't wait to see you soon. Take care of each other.